Well, hello everyone, and welcome to Power Factor, brought to you by thefourpersons.net. And just bear with me 1 second as I invite our guest here. Sometimes things don't go as well as originally planned. Let's try this. Okay, so while I'm waiting for our guest to join, this is episode 3 of episode 3 of my challenge to the Deeper Truth group that I used to belong to. How you doing, Susan? Can you hear me?
Oh, yay, now I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I got you.
Oh, yay. I think I just hit the lower button. I don't know, this said Wi-Fi or cellular?
No problem.
Yes.
So this is episode 3 of basically my case with Deeper Truth, and I'm not trying to drag you into of our little fire. So, well, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and make the case, and that if they want to try to give their side, then you can be the unbiased person to hear both sides and decide what you think the facts are.
Okay. And so, oh, 1 second. I'm going to do something so quick. I'm going to turn the fan off real quick so I can hear you better. So did Donald, or I can't even see if I'm on here or not. I hope you don't see my messy room. Okay, so did Donald or John get back with you?
No.
Oh, they didn't. Okay.
No.
Okay.
So what, did you message them?
Yes, I did. I sent it in a message.
Okay.
Yes.
You know, they can't counter what I had to say in episode number 1, which is basically cataloging, you know, many misrepresentations that John Carpenter's made.
Yes.
26 of the last 55 shows that they've done are on condemned apparitions.
Yeah.
I cataloged how they have completely and totally misrepresented the Ruini report, what it is and what it says.
Uh-huh.
To the point where their categorization of the Ruini report is completely different from the reality. And now in episode 3, I'm gonna wrap it up by deliberately showing Medjugorje and Garabandal are not credible.
Mm-hmm.
Now they've both been condemned by the church. That's a fact.
Okay. Yeah.
They've both been condemned by the church. Medjugorje has been condemned since 1991. Now, they keep saying the Vatican's going to overturn that. The Vatican's going to overturn that. But the Vatican took over the investigation in 2010. It's been 12 years. They haven't overturned anything. The Ruini report came out in 2017. It's been 5 years since the Ruini report came out. Congregation of the Doctrine of the Faith has not accepted it.
Yeah.
Pope has not accepted it, and for good reason. We're going to go through that. So this is who I say the woman of Medjugorje is, the devil with a blue dress on.
Okay.
So I'm not going to play it, but
yeah.
It's not the Virgin Mother. It's not the Blessed Mother of Jesus. So I want to thank author Donald Foley for this book, Medjugorje Complete. It's most impeccable, one of the most impeccably researched books I've ever seen. There's like over 100 pages of footnotes in it. That's how impeccably researched the book is.
Yeah.
And the man does not have an agenda, except the agenda being the truth.
Yes.
And his thorough investigation of these matters has led him to understand that these phenomena are not true. It's just not happening.
Yeah.
So John Carpenter's falsely talking about Medjugorje. Donald Hartley is emotionally invested in Medjugorje. We're going to deal with facts here. Okay? The Rumini report, if approved. Okay, so now, according to the Medjugorje advocates, the mother of Jesus has been appearing in Medjugorje for more than 40 years, according to their way of seeing things.
Yes.
Now, if that's literally tens of thousands of apparitions, if the Rumini report was approved today, do you know how many of those apparitions would be validated?
How many?
7.
7. Oh my gosh.
Only 7 apparitions out of 40,000 plus.
Yeah.
The Rumini report says that they believe the first 7 apparitions are credible.
Okay.
Now, in our last video, which anyone can watch, I proved that that's absurd, that they're not credible. Even those 7 are not credible. But even if the Rumini report was adopted, even the Rumini Commission is admitting the Virgin Mary is not appearing now in Medjugorje. Is not. Has not appeared since July of 1981.
Wow, that long ago. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a long time.
Mm-hmm.
So the only question is, will those 7 apparitions be approved? And I say they will never happen.
Yeah.
Medjugorje, as described by Bishop Gemma, the exorcist, is a diabolical fraud motivated by money.
Oh yeah. And emotions.
Yeah. It has
Yeah.
nothing to do with genuine Catholicism, and it's
Yeah.
not the real Mary who's appeared there, not even once. Now, I'm going to prove that in this article.
Okay.
That Mother Mary is no more appearing in Medjugorje than Elvis, Bigfoot, or the Loch Ness Monster. I'm going to prove, number one, that the condemnations were all made after thorough and competent investigations with bodies that were acting in good faith. That's number one.
Okay.
Number two, the facts of the case, the actual messages, the actual transcripts made it impossible for Medjugorje to be approved. Number three, that the Rumini report is wildly flawed and cannot be taken seriously. Number four, that the so-called visionaries are widely described, even in the Rumini report, as being dishonest, evasive, immoral actors addicted to money. And five, that the condemnations have all been upheld and will continue to be. In short, I'm going to prove that the evidence clearly shows that Mother Mary is not appearing in Medjugorje and never has. 47,000 visits, not for 7 visits, not for 7 seconds.
Yeah.
And I will continue to express my thanks to Donald Foley and Patrick Kaufman for this information. Now, people can interpret facts in different ways. And one point of agreement is that Bishop Palozanik was at first positive about the alleged events in Medjugorje before turning against them. And there's 2 competing interpretations as to why. Now, one interpretation is that he was unduly pressured by the communists to change his position, and he gave into that pressure. Well, number 2 is that his investigation of the actual facts and messages and his interviews with the visionaries caused him to determine they were not genuine.
Okay. Wow.
Now, from where I sit, option A is the kind of insolent, spoiled brat nonsense you get from the pro-Medjugorje side. It's baseless. Not even going to justify it with a response. The other side is more than welcome to try and prove this case with evidence. See, this is what's called a burden of proof. You're going to make the accusation that this bishop gave in to pressure from the communists. You better be ready to prove that assertion.
Yeah.
It's not enough just to make the claim. You have to prove it. You have to substantiate it with evidence.
Yeah.
So if they can provide any evidence to support this claim, then I'm here to hear that. So that's the first thing. That's the first thing. The second scenario can be based on the time-tested rule often employed in a rule of law. An example where this comes into play is in a self-defense scenario, where a person said that they felt threatened and defended themselves. Okay. Now, the rule of thumb I'll employ is a question based on the same line of thinking. And you're going to see me pose this question over and over again. And I'll pose it directly to you as a kind of a witness in this case that I'm putting forth.
Okay.
Okay. And here's the question. What would a reasonable person conclude based on the evidence? Okay. So this process is very beneficial in determining both the veracity of the alleged events and the credibility and objectivity of the person doing the investigation. So first, we applied this standard to John Carpenter and Donald Hartley. And the revolt so far had been that their arguments have proven to be without credibility and are anything but objective. Now, I, on the other hand, have been totally objective and determined to follow the facts where they lead. I wasn't always against Medjugorje. I arrived at that conclusion because that's where the facts lead. If the facts exonerated Medjugorje, I would be in favor of Medjugorje. However, if the facts condemn Medjugorje, then I have to accept that.
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to say that Donald Hartley is compromised because he went there twice and he has an emotional need for it to be true. John Carpenter is compromised because he spent 10 years writing and reporting false information and is trying to avoid the consequences of that information being exposed.
Yeah.
Now, the reason I'm saying that, because I want to go back to this idea of what would a reasonable person conclude. So if you look at motive, they both have claimed that I have some kind of an agenda. I need somebody to explain to me what my agenda is. I don't gain anything by Medjugorje being true. I don't gain anything by Medjugorje not being true. I don't have any investment in it.
Yeah.
Right? Donald Hartley has an emotional investment. John Carpenter has a financial investment. They're both invested in Medjugorje being true. So if you're going to accuse somebody of having an agenda, logic would dictate that it's far more likely that they have an agenda than I do.
Oh, yeah.
Because I'm going to go back and repeat the fact that I don't gain anything personally if Medjugorje is true. I don't gain anything personally if Medjugorje is not true. So my agenda is, where do the facts lead? Now, if that's true in my case, okay, I'm just an average schmuck, okay? I'm just an average Joe. So if it's true in my case, then you got to believe it's true in the case of this Bishop Zanuck, and that's where we're going to start.
Okay.
Now, Bishop Zanuck was a devoutly Marian bishop. Okay, he traveled to Lourdes. He traveled to Fatima. He traveled to Syracuse. He traveled to these places where Mary has, where these shrines and these places where Mary has been approved by the church to have appeared in these various places. Okay.
Yeah.
So the idea that he wouldn't be overjoyed at the thought of having the Virgin Mary appearing in his own diocese, kind of hard to see why he would have that agenda, right?
Yep.
So they said that he gave in to the communists. Well, if you're going to make that accusation, shouldn't you have to support that accusation with some kind of evidence? But there's no evidence. So let's be clear. Support of Medjugorje is based on emotion and nothing more. Opposition to Medjugorje is based on facts and nothing less. The more you know the facts, the more you simply cannot believe this nonsense, and the more angry the other side will get at you.
Yeah.
Okay? These are the facts that Bishop Zanuck ruled on. And Susan, these are indisputable. These facts are indisputable. First fact, All 6 visionaries are on the record. It's in the transcripts. They're on the record of saying the visions would end on July 3rd, 1981. In fact, Vichka actually claimed on July 3rd, 1981, she confirmed it. They said, was that the last one? Yes, that was the last apparition.
Okay.
So this is proven to be false.
Yeah.
So if the apparitions were true during the first 7 apparitions, during the first 10 days, then how can the only prophecy that was made during that time end up not coming true?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
So I'm asking these questions in the context of these are the things that Bishop Zanuck had to observe.
Yes.
So he's confronted with the evidence is, okay, you say this is the mother of God, but she made a prophecy and the prophecy ended up being false. That doesn't sound like the mother of God to me.
Nope.
Right? The second fact, and again, this is a fact, and even the Ruini Commission admits this. Visionaries have been caught in multiple, indisputable lies. Even the Ruini Commission admits this. The Ruini Commission has even said that Ivan, the visionary, has no credibility. That's a pretty strong indictment, isn't it?
Yep.
Okay. So that was fact number 2 that Bishop Zanuck had to use in his determination. He can't decide that the Virgin Mary is appearing in Medjugorje because he wants her to be there. He has to make his determination based on the facts.
Yes.
Okay. Fact number 3, the visions certainly did not follow the patterns of previously approved events. The greed and the lack of entrance into the religious life of the seers is just one example. In Fatima, all 3 seers entered into the 2 youngest visionaries died young, and then Lucia entered into the religious life.
Oh, yes.
Okay. In Lourdes, Sister Bernadette entered into the religious life. We see this pattern over and over and over again. All 6 of the visionaries of Medjugorje are independently wealthy. In fact, they make a point that Ivan Dragosevich drives a BMW, owns a mansion.
Yeah.
And his sole source of income is the visionaries, visions. And they charge people to come see these visions. They host them in their homes for exorbitant amounts of money. They travel the world charging. This does not sound like anything that's in step with previously approved apparitions.
Yeah, that's
the third fact that the bishop had to base his determination on. The fourth fact, the overwhelming majority of the messages, probably over 90%, fall into this category of banal, but not offensive, Hallmark cardish type arguments. Okay. And then of the remaining 10% or so, there are some of the messages that are undeniably heretical and even blasphemous. There's one episode, and I'm going to talk about later, where Vichka the visionary is caught on camera faking one of the ecstasies, and then afterwards, as an excuse, she claims that the Virgin Mother was about to drop the baby Jesus.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Sure. Okay. So this is from the website catholicapologetics.info. This is a pretty good, reliable website. And again, remember I told you, you're going to use sources? Well, here's a source you could use, catholicapologetics.info. This is an unbiased Catholic apologetics website. They say, it is the duty of the local bishop of the diocese in which supposed supernatural events take place to study and confirm or deny the legitimacy of the claims made. The bishop in the diocese to which Medjugorje belongs, Monsignor Zanuck of Mostar, remitted this duty by forming a diocesan commission to do an impartial inquiry into the events that have been taking place since 1981. After a few years of thorough and intense investigative study, okay, so the bishop actually brought this commission together to help him make a determination. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
In the statement, Monsignor Zanuck condemned the apparitions as not made by the Most Holy Virgin Mary, and he forbade the pilgrimages set up from the beginning without ecclesiastical approval from the Bishop of Mostar.
Wow.
Now, this is the ordinary way that these things are ruled on. This is the ordinary process. It starts with the local bishop.
Yes.
John Carpenter and Donald Hartley are trying to claim that this bishop's ruling was somehow invalid. Okay, so Susan,
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you, what would a reasonable person say? Would a reasonable person say that they have a burden of proof on them to prove that allegation?
Yeah, if they have if they said that they didn't, if they went back on this, then where's the proof?
Right.
Yeah. Yes.
Right. Okay, so then the second diocesan commission, so that was the first diocesan commission. Condemnation number 1. The second diocesan commission worked from 1984 to 1986 and voted explicitly on the 2nd of May, 1986 by a overwhelming margin. So the second commission voted 11 negative votes, 2 positive votes, 1 undecided, and 1 in abstention. Okay, 11-2.
Yeah.
By an 11-2 decision, they upheld the previous commission's findings. So now the burden of proof is now on John Carpenter and Donald Hartley to prove that not only was this bishop compromised, but he compromised the commission, and then he compromised a second commission.
Wow.
All right. Now,
Yeah.
I'm going to say again, would a reasonable person conclude that that's plausible?
Yeah. No.
This
Yeah,
is what Bishop Herrick said. Okay. The successor to Bishop Zanuck did his investigation, and his commission came up with the same conclusion. Now, the conclusion that the first bishop had come up to, the commission that the first bishop had come up with, was that the supernatural nature of these apparitions cannot be determined. Now, after 10 years of apparitions, that's essentially a negative judgment. After 10 years, okay? But Bishop Herrick went even further. He said, my conviction and my position is not only non-constant de supernaturality, but also constant de non-supernaturality. As regards to the apparitions, and forgive me for butchering the Latin, as regards to the apparitions of the revelations of Medjugorje. So Bishop Herrick is now taking it even further and saying, I not only say that the supernatural nature of these apparitions cannot be proven.
Yeah.
I'm going to go even further and say that the non-supernatural nature of these apparitions has been disproven. In other words, these apparitions have not only not been proven, they've been disproven. That's the position of the bishop. So now, John Carpenter, Donald Hartley are in the position of proving that Bishop Zanuck was compromised, that he compromised the first commission, that he compromised the second commission, and that Bishop Herrick was compromised, and he compromised the decision that handed the commission to hand the decision down in October of 1997. Okay?
Wow.
In between this final statement, in between the second commission of Bishop Zanuck and this statement by Bishop Herrick, was the Yugoslav Bishops' Commission. They brought all of the bishops of all of Yugoslavia together. Now, of course, Yugoslavia has been disbanded. And that Yugoslavia Commission came up with the same conclusion. So now we have two commissions under Bishop Zanuck. We have the commission under Bishop Parrott, and then we have the Yugoslav commission. And then we have Bishop Parrott coming out and saying, even stronger than the language of the Yugoslav commission, he said their language wasn't even strong enough. These apparitions have been disproven. Now, again, going back, would a reasonable person conclude that all of those bodies could have been compromised?
Yeah.
Okay. In the resulting interview given by Father Delicus of, I'm not even going to try these words here. Monsignor was asked, are you as a matter of principle against apparitions? The bishop replied, quite the contrary. I myself have been 8 times to Lourdes, and I've organized pilgrimages. I've done devotion to the Most Holy Rosary. I was even in Beno, in Bahrain, Belgium, in Syracuse, Italy. 3 places the apparitions of Mary have been stated as authentic. So he's been to 3 officially approved apparition sites, 3 sites approved by the Vatican: Lourdes, Beno, Bahrain. Okay?
Yeah.
All right. However, you're not convinced of this in Medjugorje. I should really be glad to have a Lourdes in my diocese. It would be something grandiose. But I cannot, before God, before my conscience, and before the church, proclaim these apparitions as authentic and supernatural. The committee on the national level, composed of 20 bishops, was organized to decide on the apparitions. This committee also spent several years patiently studying the matter, and finally, in November of 1990, issued a statement which concluded that there is no proof that Marian apparitions have occurred in Medjugorje. Now listen to this, Susan. These are the national bishops. They've now made it nationwide. 19 bishops. I'm sorry, 20 bishops. You know what the vote was?
What?
19 bishops voted to condemn and 1 abstained. It was a unanimous vote.
Wow.
These are the national bishops. So now Bishop Zanuck is corrupt. He corrupted the first commission. He corrupted the second commission. Bishop Parrott corrupted the third commission. And now somehow Bishop Zanuck and Bishop Parrott have managed to corrupt all of the bishops of Yugoslavia.
Oh my.
Okay. Now, regardless of these testimonies by these most competent authorities of the church, many refuse to heed the church's decision and persist in going to Medjugorje. You wonder by what authority would be sufficient to convince these travelers of the truth of the church's clear and emphatic declaration. It is also disturbing that if the apparitions are not from God, then who do they come from?
Yeah.
Medjugorje condemned by tradition. Now, these are the words of CatholicApologetics.info. These are not my words, Susan. Okay?
Yeah. Yes.
In the last article, we addressed John Carpenter's silly claim that 10 to 20 years of social media what is negatively impacted Medjugorje. But let's revisit that claim to see if it holds up. In 1986, Medjugorje is condemned by Bishop Zanuck's-led commission. All right? In 1986, the second commission condemns it again with 11 out of 15 votes. In 1991, the Episcopal Conference votes to condemn. In 1991, the Yugoslav Bishops' Conference votes to condemn unanimously.
Yeah.
With 1 vote abstaining. And then in 1997, Bishop Parrott states that past condemnations did not go far enough. Now, he is the standing bishop. He is the bishop withstanding to make this determination at the time he made this statement in 1997. All right? That not only has the supernaturality not been proven, but it has been disproven.
Mm-hmm.
He's given an absolute blanket condemnation of these apparitions. Now,
Yeah.
John Carpenter, now this was in 1997.
Yes.
Now, John Carpenter claims that the Vatican took the investigation away from Bishop Perrick. That was in 2010. Well, that's false. Bishop Perrick requested the assistance of the Vatican. All right. That was 13 years later, Susan.
Yeah.
13 years later. And guess what? If at that point the Vatican had determined that Bishop Perrick operated improperly and they took the investigation from him, two things would have happened in the 12 years since 2010. Two things would have happened. Number one, the Vatican would have approved the apparitions, which it has not.
Mm-hmm.
Number two, Bishop Perrick would have been removed from his bishopric. Is that a fair statement?
Yeah.
Now, Bishop Perrick is no longer the bishop in Mostar
Okay.
because he resigned voluntarily. He basically retired in September of 2020
Okay.
by his own volition. Okay? So to believe Carpenter and Hartley, you have to believe that Bishop Zanuck was incompetent and or compromised, and Bishop Perrick was incompetent and or compromised, and the majority of the Episcopal Conference was incompetent and compromised, and 19 of the 20 members of the Yugoslav Bishops' Commission were incompetent or compromised. You cannot believe most of those things or some of those things. You have to believe all of those things.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you, would a reasonable person believe that?
No. Yeah. And have a question, or you keep going and then I'll ask it
Go ahead,
later.
ask the question.
Oh, well, okay. It was condemned like in 86, right? I can't scroll on this little thing, but okay. What makes them reopen the investigations? Is it because it's an ongoing so-called apparition or what?
The reason the investigations were reopened is because it grew larger and larger.
Oh, okay.
First, this was something that was just focused. I remember there was a phenomenon back in the, I believe it was the 1990s, around my area in Lakewood, New Jersey, Lakewood, Virginia, rather.
Okay.
And it made a splash in the Arlington diocese, but never got much bigger than that.
Okay.
This grew. Medjugorje grew to what now was affecting the entire country, and then it was affecting the entire world. And I believe at its peak, there were 4 million pilgrims going there a year.
Wow.
So that's why these larger and larger bodies had to step in.
Okay.
To make sure that everything was investigated. But every time they investigated it, they came back with the same conclusion.
Okay.
Now, what is the chance that all of these people were wrong? Here it is right here. 0.
Yeah.
0. Okay. Now, so what evidence would a reasonable person conclude based on the evidence? Right? Let's talk about the credibility of the other side. Now, Susan, they've made claims about the credibility of Bishop Zanuck, right? They've made claims about the credibility of Bishop Perrick. Now, they didn't substantiate those claims, but they made the claims nevertheless, right? So they impugn the integrity of those two bishops, right? All right. Now, are you ready for a shock? I'm going to provide you evidence for the other side.
Okay.
Okay. These are facts, and they're not disputed. Even Donald Hartley and John Carpenter will not dispute these facts. Okay. Father Vlasic, who was the spiritual director for the Visionaries, he was the first spiritual director for the Visionaries. He was defrocked and then excommunicated. Among the serious charges were violations of the 6th commandment, sins of a sexual nature. His sexual deviancy came to be known to then Cardinal Joseph Ratzinger, who forced him to leave Medjugorje. Cardinal Ratzinger exiled him from Medjugorje for the sexual sins. And get this, guess what else Father Vlasic was doing?
What?
This is documented. This is on the record.
Yeah.
Conjuring up evil spirits.
Oh boy.
He was dabbling in the occult. Okay.
Oh my. Yeah.
And involved in sexual sins. He is now a full-fledged, listen to this, he is now a full-fledged promoter of the occult and the New Age movement and a promoter of UFO conspiracy theories. This is the spiritual director of the Visionaries.
Wow.
This is the credibility of their side. Okay. All right. So that's just one fringe example, right? You just, okay, you don't throw out the whole bathtub because of, right?
Yeah.
How about Vlasic's fellow Franciscans, Fathers Vega and Persini, led a mob to evict the clergy from a Mostar church, and they were suspended by the bishop of Mostar. They led a mob to throw the clergy from the church.
Oh my.
Okay. Should I keep going?
Yes.
The gospel told the seers that the bishop was to blame and the dissident priests were innocent. This is what Mary is supposedly telling the visionaries. Oh, the bishop is the guilty one. The ones who raided the church, they're the innocent ones. Okay? And they told the priest, this Mother Mary, it wasn't Mother Mary, the woman of Medjugorje, the devil with the blue dress on, told the priest to disregard the bishop's directive.
Wow.
And they remained in Medjugorje practicing mass and confessions, even though they were defrocked. They had been stripped of their faculties.
Wow.
This is their side.
Yeah.
Donald Hartley and John Carpenter's side. This is not the pro-Medjugorje, the anti-Medjugorje side. Okay? Over the next few months, the devil with the blue dress on said the priest should stay in the diocese and continue to hear confessions and give communion, even though they had no faculties to do so.
Wow.
Blasphemy.
Yes, big time.
This is blasphemy. They are blaspheming the mother of our Lord right here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
Should I continue? The so-called gospel, the demon, then said the bishop, a devoutly Marian priest, had no love of God in his heart. This is a devoutly Marian priest that been to Lourdes 8 times.
Yeah.
The woman of Medjugorje is saying that this bishop had no love of God in his heart. Okay? And then listen to this. The 2 priests that had been defrocked had no faults. No faults. Well, Father Vega's faultlessness took a little bit of a hit when he, like Vlasic, was defrocked for sexual indiscretions. He impregnated a nun.
Oh my goodness.
This was a priest with no faults. That the so-called, the supposed mother of God is saying that this priest had no faults.
Wow.
Okay? He impregnated a nun. Should I keep going?
Yeah.
Their Franciscan brother and a central figure in Medjugorje, Father Jozo Zofko, was also defrocked for insubordination and allegedly molesting Medjugorje pilgrims.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Yeah. And yet I'm the bad guy because I don't believe in this. These
Yeah.
apparitions. Isn't this incredible? Okay.
Yes, it is.
Later, the Franciscans were involved in the kidnap of Bishop Perrick. The authorities had to rescue the bishop, was kidnapped by these Franciscans who were in favor of the Medjugorje apparition. They kidnapped the bishop and held him against his will, and he had to be rescued by the authorities. So while Donald Hartley's fond of saying that those opposed to Medjugorje are a peanut gallery, I would say that those who are in favor of Medjugorje look more like a chain gang,
Yeah.
more like this group here.
Oh my gosh.
So again, I'm going to ask you, given the evidence that I've given you, and they are
Yeah.
free to counter, they are free to try and counter this evidence that I've produced. They're free to,
Yeah.
but make them counter it. Don't make them just deny it. Oh, that's not true. That's not true. Make them counter
Yeah.
it. It's all documented, published stuff.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you, what would a reasonable person conclude? What side is lying and what side is telling the truth?
Yeah, that it's all a hoax. It's all a hoax.
These facts
Yeah.
made the case impossible to approve.
Mm-hmm.
Now, another one of the games that John Carpenter plays
Yeah.
is that he uses condemned apparitions to prove condemned apparitions. So, well, this happened over in this apparition over here, and that
Yeah.
supports this one over here when both of them were condemned. Now, again, I want to go back to the same body of the same question.
Mm-hmm.
What would a reasonable person conclude? When you look at all of the approved apparitions of the church, you would recognize certain patterns.
Mm-hmm.
Mary doesn't appear very many times. There is a profound change in the visionaries, a profound positive change, not like a profound negative change like you have here. You see miracles, you see signs. In Lourdes, you have the miraculous spring. In Fatima, you have the sun dance in the sky, witnessed by 70,000 people. Do you know there's not one documented miracle from Medjugorje?
Wow.
Not one documented, verified miracle that's been approved by the official Lourdes Medical Bureau.
Mm-hmm.
There is not one single peer-reviewed, published medical study, scientific study out of Medjugorje. Now you've got countless medical studies, cures, everything from Lourdes, where Mary appeared 18 times. Yet in Fatima, where she supposedly, in Medjugorje, where she supposedly appeared 50,000 times, not one peer-reviewed study, not one verifiable miracle.
Yeah.
Okay. The only thing that they can point to, and I've seen Donald Hartley point to this, many times, and I'll be honest with you. At first, I was a supporter of Medjugorje when I first heard about it.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you why. And this was way back in the 1980s.
Yes.
Because I had someone send me some miraculous medals. And they called me and they said, are any of the miraculous medals that you received gold? I said, yeah, I noticed that. I was going to ask you about that. Some of them are gold, some of them are silver. And I was wondering why you sent me gold ones and silver ones. He said, we don't have any gold ones. The people all over the country are claiming that their rosaries and their miraculous medals are turning gold.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's a pretty impressive sounding sign.
Yeah.
So I witnessed this myself. Now, Donald Hartley has said that he witnessed rosaries turning gold right in front of him.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, I want you to listen to this. Bishop John Trakey of Nekada, that's Nekada, Wisconsin, investigated the alleged apparitions and ordered all activity stopped in 1950 by saying all claims regarding supernatural revelations and visions made by the aforementioned Miss Van Hoop are false. Furthermore, all public and private religious worship connected to these false claims is prohibited. In 1969, Bishop Tracy was succeeded by Bishop Friedrich Refuting, who ordered another investigation. The new bishop ordered the shrine closed, but Mary Ann told her followers that they must obey Our Lady of Nekada rather than the bishop. Again, proof that it's a false apparition, because Mary is not going to tell you to defy the bishop. In 1972, the bishop informed Mary Ann that he would take sanctions if his directions were not followed. Bishop John, all activities were stopped in 1950. I have the source right here.
Wow.
Okay, here's the source. Okay. Now, why am I bringing up Our Lady of Nekada, Wisconsin? was there anything ambiguous in what you just heard there? The apparitions of Nekeda, Wisconsin are condemned, period, right?
Yeah.
John Carpenter is still promoting Nekeda, Wisconsin. He promotes Nekeda, Wisconsin as if Mary appeared there. Well, guess what? There are documented evidence of rosaries turning gold at Nekeda, Wisconsin. And
Wow.
yet the church condemned it anyway. The devil can turn a rosary gold. You need more than that for it to be an authentic apparition.
Yeah.
Okay? So here again, this is John Carpenter's website right here. I'm bringing it up. In case anybody doubts, this is his website. Look at this. Nekeda, Wisconsin.
Wow.
Right? Promoting it as Mary appeared.
Oh my.
Right? I mean, it's not even a question. Blessed Mary positioned herself in the air about 2 feet off the ground. He's saying that this happened. This is factual. This has been condemned by the church.
Uh-huh.
Okay?
Yeah.
I ask you again, what would a reasonable person conclude? Is John Carpenter a credible source?
No.
Is Medjugorje credible simply based on rosaries turning gold? Do we dismiss all this other evidence of all these criminals that have come out of the Medjugorje movement because of rosary turned gold? Right? Conceding the golden rosaries and a few subjective pictures that people have come out and said, I took this picture, it showed this, I took this picture, it showed that. Okay, fine. But what other supernatural events can be tied to Medjugorje? After 40 years, not one documented miraculous cure verified by the Lord's Medical Bureau. You can't say that about approved apparitions.
Mm-hmm.
There are documented cures at Lourdes, at La Salette, at Fatima, these other places, documented cures. Not one publicly released peer-reviewed scientific study. John Carpenter talks about scientific studies in his book. Why can't we look at the evidence? Why can't we look at the data? Put the data on a screen so I can look at it, right?
Yeah.
It's all, this doctor claimed that he did this experiment and these were the results. Not one verifiable prediction that has been made at Medjugorje in 40 years, not one prediction has come true. In fact, they won't even tell us what the predictions are. All these 10 secrets, can't tell you the secrets. Get this, the visionaries have all said, and they won't even confirm that each of the visionaries has the same 10 secrets. They won't even confirm that.
Wow.
The visionaries have said they'll tell us the 10 secrets after they come true.
Oh, of course. Oh my
gosh. Hey, I'm going to tell you who's going to win this year's Super Bowl after it happens.
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
Okay? Not one sanctioned bishop or body of the Bosnian Catholic Church has issued an approval.
Yeah.
And not one visionary has entered into religious life.
Yeah.
On the contrary, the visionaries are contexted, even by the Ruini report, as untrustworthy, spiritually immature, and going through the motions. All 6 of them are filthy rich, living off money from lectures, pilgrimages, books, and on-demand appearances of the gospel, producing endless banal hallmark cardish messages that show no progression, no depth, and do not even touch the great moral issues of the day, such as abortion, sex trafficking, pornography, drugs, violence, etc.
Yeah.
There are sites where you can go to and search the messages.
Mm-hmm.
Guess what else has not been mentioned in 40 years of messages? Do you remember what happened this past Friday?
Oh, yeah, the consecration. Yeah.
Consecration of what?
Russia. Well, it's supposed to be Russia. Yeah.
In 40 years of messages, you can search. There's a search engine. I posted on the 4persons.net a link to a search engine. You can search all the messages. In 40 years of messages, the word Russia does not appear, not once.
Wow.
Is that possible? Is that possible? Now, let's put that in context with when Russia was mentioned by the Virgin Mother in 1917, it was considered absurd. When she said Russia would spread the Bolshevik Revolution had just begun. The idea that Russia would be a threat to the entire world in 1917 was absurd.
Yeah.
But if you said today that Russia was a threat to the entire world, people would take that very, very seriously, right? And yet, 1981 to today, the so-called Gospel of Medjugorje hasn't mentioned Russia not once. Now I'm going to ask you again, what would a reasonable person conclude?
Serious.
So the visionaries or contacts, even by the Marini report, is untrustworthy, spiritually immature. That's the other thing. They said the visionaries are spiritually immature, and the Marini report says, well, that's because they haven't had a spiritual director. Huh?
Seriously.
No spiritual director?
Yeah.
Talking to the Mother of God for 40 years.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
What spiritual director on earth could match that?
Yeah,
Right?
exactly. Yes. Oh my
Okay.
gosh.
I mean, that's just an incredible claim, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So this is a typical message. I put this up. There's nothing particularly objectionable about this message. I put it up as this is typical of 90% of the messages for the last 40 years. Be together and do not argue. Do not be disorderly, my angels. I will make you attentive. I will guide you on a sure way. I could have written that.
Yeah.
Okay. I could have written that. That was probably written the morning of the so-called apparition.
Yeah.
Anything deep in there? Anything prophetic in there?
No.
Anything that, the Virgin Mary is breaking any new ground here?
Yeah. No.
Jakov lives in a mansion in the Boston suburbs, estimated to be worth between $800,000 and $1 million.
Wow.
Ivan lives lavishly, exclusively off funds made from the apparitions. All 6 of the visionaries live in mansions. They all live in mansions.
Yeah.
With immaculately manicured gardens. They all travel the world. They're globetrotters traveling the world. They're all married with families of their own. Vichka has proven to be dishonest, manipulative, and without credibility. So has Ivan.
Yeah.
Now, I want you to watch this video. This video is the checkmate. Okay? This is actual footage. Can you see it?
Yes. Yes, I can see it.
Now, I'm going to show you what you're going to see. So, Vichka and the visionaries have claimed that when they see the Blessed Mother, everything else is blocked out. They don't see anything else. Okay.
Yeah.
That would be something that they should be willing to put to a test, right?
Yes.
Okay. So if someone during one of the apparitions decides to do just that, and they weren't prepared for it, he decided, said, okay, I want to see if this is true. I want to see if she really does block everything else out.
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to blow this up to full screen if I can.
Okay.
All right. If I'm able to. And I want you to see if your own eyes lie to you.
Okay. Is there no volume, right?
Now,
Yeah.
I want to put this in context. He's
Mhm.
filming an apparition of the Virgin, the apparition where they claim the Virgin Mary is appearing to them.
Okay.
He's not the one that does what you're about to see. And when it first happens, he didn't even notice it. But he wasn't expecting this. He didn't precipitate this.
Yeah.
Okay. And he went back and he watched the film and he was like, whoa, what did we just see?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
But he had his camera, he was a parapsychologist. He was studying the visionaries, doing his little scientific study. He
Yeah.
was not prepared for what he captured.
Okay.
But you can't deny what the camera shows.
Yeah.
And I want you to watch this.
Okay.
And then because this was another, John Carpenter's remarks and this video, to me, were checkmates. They said, okay, this is crap. This stuff is just baloney. So watch this and see if you come to the same conclusion.
Is there no audio, right?
What?
Is there no, I cannot hear him. Is that right?
Oh, you can't hear the audio?
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then let me try to reshare just to make sure. Okay. All right. I'm sorry.
Okay. Oh, that's okay.
Because it's very important that you hear the audio.
Oh, okay.
All right. In fact, if you don't mind, I'm going to start it back at the beginning.
Oh, yeah, do that.
Because I had the wrong setting.
Oh, yeah, you're good.
I'm going to start.
Even at the height of the war tearing apart the former Yugoslavia, the cameras proved that pilgrims would defy shells and sniper bullets to visit the shrine at Medjugorje. They've congregated here through bad times and good. Indeed, in 1992, when shells hit the church but failed to explode, Medjugorje's reputation grew still further as a place of miracles. In 1985, 6 young children came down from this hill and announced that they'd seen a vision of the Virgin Mary. She appeared again to them on consecutive Fridays, and the word spread. As at Fatima 60 years before, a vision by a group of children made the place a magnet for the faithful. It was said that during their visions, the children were truly in trance. They claimed to hear nothing and to be totally unaware of their surroundings. But in Montreal, Canada, a professor of parapsychology decided to investigate. Louis Bélanger took a video camera to record the children in their regular trance. But he says what he recorded calls into question the state of ecstasy the children experience.
When they see the Virgin Mary, the visionaries claim that they are totally disconnected from the environment, that they don't hear other people, that they don't see other people, that they are completely concentrated on the apparition of the Virgin Mary.
Every week, the Virgin is said to appear to the young visionaries at a Friday service.
Okay.
Bélanger set up his camera and sat back to watch.
Now, they make the sign of the cross and they begin the prayer, Our Father. And during that prayer, suddenly there is the beginning of the ecstasy. They kneel down and they are in contact with the Virgin Mary.
If they're truly in ecstasy, nothing should distract the children. But suddenly, to Bélanger's later amazement, an onlooker called Jean-Louis jabbed his hand towards Vitska on the right.
At the moment of filming, I did not see that. Just afterwards, I saw it.
Did you see it, Susan?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the onlooker jabs his fingers at her.
Yeah.
And she jumps.
Mm-hmm.
She jumps. You saw the reaction, right?
Yep.
Now you're going to see it in slow motion. It leaves no doubt.
Yeah.
She jumped. She reacted to the fingers.
There was a commotion in the chapel. Everybody was disturbed because Vitska had...
What he's saying here is he noticed that there was commotion in the chapel and he wasn't sure why. Because he didn't notice it. He was filming. He didn't notice what happened.
Yeah.
But he noticed that there was that there was commotion.
Mm-hmm.
So he's saying, okay, something happened. What happened? So he goes back and he reviews the film and he sees what everybody else saw. So let me continue playing.
Had reacted. Jean-Louis made a threat gesture against the eyes of Witzka, towards the eyes of Witzka, and she reacted. And it was for Jean-Louis an important disappointment.
Yeah.
Is there any question?
Nope. Yeah. Slow motion, you can really
Still
see it.
frames from Bélanger's video at the moment of the hand
caught.
lunging at Witzka show her clearly recoiling from the jabbing fingers.
Mm-hmm.
Then the
Now,
Wow.
the worst part of this,
Yeah.
to be perfectly honest with you, to me, this disproves Medjugorje right here. This one video, it's already disproven. She makes it even worse, because to be honest with you, if that had just happened and they didn't say anything about it, it would have gotten buried under the avalanche of thousands and thousands of messages. People would have forgotten about it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And nobody came to her and said, hey, Bitchka, what just happened in there? Because it seemed like, that's not what happened. She knew she was caught. So she comes back in the apparition room and she volunteers, hey, what you just saw here, here's what happened. You'll not believe her excuse. You'll not believe it. You got to listen to this.
The fingers of Jean-Louis are going back. Still no reaction from this guy. A slight reaction, closing of her eyes. And then on the next picture, you have the spectacular movement of the face of Witzka. She is reacting, going back. After the ecstasy, I had forgotten to stop the camera, and suddenly Witzka comes in with somebody else.
She wanted to explain why she'd moved. In her trance, she'd been trying to prevent the Virgin from dropping the infant Jesus.
So she said,
Did
when
you
I
hear
arrived in the
that?
chapel,
Yes.
Oh my.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
I mean,
Yeah.
there's nothing more. There's nothing more that you can say to me. When I saw that, it's okay. This is game, set, match. Now, this is what's unbelievable to me. I presented this video to John Carpenter and Donald Hartley.
Yeah.
Because they've been berating me. They said, well, you're against Medjugorje and you don't have any evidence. You don't have any reason to be against Medjugorje.
Wow.
I said, look at this.
Seriously.
Tell me what you got to say about this.
Yeah.
And I did one of these. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm ready to hear your explanation.
Yeah.
You know what I was expecting to hear from them?
What?
The video was doctored. It's photoshopped. It's a fraud. It's not really Bitchka. This is what I was expecting to hear. Now, I know better.
Yeah.
But that was the argument that I was expecting to hear.
Yeah.
You know what I heard from Donald Hartley and
What
John
is-
Carpenter?
Yeah.
They didn't deny that the video is authentic. They didn't deny that I'm seeing what I think I'm seeing. They didn't deny it.
Yeah.
They said, well, okay, but the visionaries, you can't expect the visionaries to get it always get it right. This video proves nothing.
Oh my gosh. To always get what? They're faking, right? Wow.
I'm asking you, what would a reasonable person conclude? Now, this video was featured on Church Pop. You know who Church Pop is?
No, I don't.
Church Pop was created by EWTN. Would you consider EWTN to be pretty reputable? Mother Angelica's network?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. They created Church Pop as kind of an offshoot to make Catholicism, more appealable to the younger generation. Okay. To make it, just use the new technology, the social media and all that stuff, make it kind of a funner, more fresher approach.
Mm-hmm.
But it's EWTN.
Yeah.
So EWTN, no less than Mother Angelica's Eternal World Television Network, is standing behind the authenticity of this video.
Yeah. Wow.
And yet I get accused of listening to the peanut gallery.
Yeah.
I'm listening to EWTN. EWTN is posting a video. And what does it say at the top of the video? Do you see that?
Oh, no, I can't see that.
Medjugorje is fake.
Fake. Yeah, I enlarged it. Wow.
That's what they're posting on their website, Church Pop. Medjugorje is fake.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when confronted by this video evidence, the reactions of both John Carpenter and Donald Hartley were startling. Neither of them claimed the video was false or that it was altered or even that the quotes and descriptions of the events were inaccurate in any way. They simply said something to the effect of, well, one little mistake doesn't undo 40 years of apparitions.
Wow.
That's nonsense.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
That's nonsense. If you have 40 years of harmless remarks and one heretical statement, the one heretical statement brings everything else down.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So I'll leave it to your own eyes and your own ears to witness what you've seen.
Yeah.
Nothing John Carpenter or Donald Hartley can say can make you unsee what you just saw. You can't walk away from this thinking that Vitska is anything but a fraud. And her story about the possibility to even suggest that it's possible the Blessed Mother would drop baby Jesus.
Yeah.
And the irony is that Donald Hartley has claimed that I am attacking the Blessed Mother.
Yeah.
I'm the one that's defending the Blessed Mother against this damnable monstrosity here.
Yeah.
She's claiming that she thought the Blessed Mother was going to drop the baby Jesus.
How that could even happen?
Absolute blasphemy.
Yes. Oh my
Say that. Now, I'm guessing that their gaslighting is not going to persuade you. It has often been speculated that Bishop Zanuck turned from Medjugorje supporter to detractor as a result of communist pressure. Okay? Donald Foley has such a good explanation for this in his book, Medjugorje Complete, the book that I showed you earlier.
Oh, yeah.
That I copied the page and put it in here.
Okay.
Okay, can I read this?
Yes.
Prior to this, as Father Sivert reports, Bishop Zanuck had received what can only be described as a threatening letter from Ivan Dragicevic. Now, let's remember, Ivan Dragicevic is the one that the Ruini Commission said had no credibility. Okay?
Okay.
Ivan Dragicevic, the visionary, writes a threatening letter to the bishop, dated 21 June 1983. In this, he claimed he had received a message from the gospel in which he demanded the bishop's immediate conversion on the happenings in the Medjugorje parish before it's too late, and warned him not to cause nor incite dissension among the clergy, nor emphasize the negative side of the visions.
Wow.
This was her last warning.
Wow.
And he should convert and change, otherwise the verdict of the gospel and her son would reach him. Does it need to be pointed out that it's completely beyond the bounds of credibility to believe the Blessed Virgin Mary could possibly have given such a message? Although it was established that this letter was written in Ivan Dragicevic's hands, it does not seem at all likely that he composed it. So in other words, somebody's suggesting that this letter was dictated to Ivan to write.
Oh, okay.
Medjugorje supporters ask why Bishop Zanuck changed his mind about the visions, having initially been supportive, with the implication that he had an ulterior motive. But surely no bishop could take Medjugorje seriously after a message like that. What other reason would be required for a sensible person to reject it?
Wow.
I think Mr. Foley is spot on. The message alone, and again, Susan, this is not disputed. You take this to Donald or John Carpenter, they won't dispute this. They
Yeah.
won't dispute that Ivan wrote the bishop this letter, threatening the bishop.
Uh-huh.
And he better get his stuff together or else.
Mm.
Can you imagine the mother of God telling a visionary to talk to a bishop in that way?
Oh, yeah, no.
Not a chance, right?
No. Yeah, no.
Okay. So the gospel of Medjugorje is producing quite a record of accomplishments. She's about to drop the baby Jesus. She defends sexual predators. She encouraged a defrocked priest to hear confessions and celebrate communions. She encouraged disobedience to the bishop. And she threatened that he better get on board the pro-Medjugorje train and ignore the negatives. Now, if this sounds like the mother of Jesus to you, I'd suggest you get professional help.
Yeah.
But there's more. There's more. The Medjugorje Gospel, the devil, endorses the poem of the man god. Have you heard of that?
No.
These were another set of apparitions, 5-book set, okay, that came out, I believe it was in the 1960s, explicitly condemned by the Vatican.
Okay.
So the lady of Medjugorje is saying, oh, you know what, the Vatican got it wrong by condemning this, the poem of the man god is good.
Mm-hmm.
She nearly brought about the end of the world over a handkerchief. One of the visions, the visionary says that the Virgin Mary was about to drop a bloody handkerchief in the river. They got the bloody handkerchief from the Madonna, or something to this effect. And she said, if you had not asked for the handkerchief, it would have been the end of the world. So the Virgin Mother of Jesus was going to end the world over a handkerchief.
Oh my gosh.
On October 1st, 1981, she claimed that all religions are equal before God.
Oh, yeah, no.
Okay? The Virgin Mary of Medjugorje overturns the history of the church for some 1,600 years and the testimony of at least 5 canonized saints in claiming that the birthday of the mother of Jesus is in August, not September. Let me repeat.
Gosh.
5 canonized saints have confirmed that the Blessed Mother was born in September. The mother of Medjugorje says, no, it was in August.
Wow.
Okay? She's acted indecisive in visions, acting like she doesn't know what she's going to do.
Oh, yeah.
Is that Mary?
No.
Okay? Makes predictions, none of which have come true. This is the gospel of Medjugorje. Right? Now listen to this one. She becomes filthy. Her clothes become filthy from the sins of reprobates putting their hands all over her.
No.
Blasphemy.
Yeah.
That's blasphemy. Okay?
Yep.
She appears on demand to visionaries who make thousands of these visionaries drive luxury cars and live in mansions. So they travel around the country and they say, okay, all right, so what we're going to do is we're going to set up this conference for 2:00 this afternoon. And don't worry, if you pay and you get in, I'll make sure that Mary shows up.
Oh my, yeah.
They dictate to Mary when she's going to show up.
Yeah, it's all about them.
Okay?
Oh.
On September 16th, 1984, the Gospel of Medjugorje, the Lady of Medjugorje, told the visionaries not to pray for themselves. Absolutely heretical.
Wow, yeah.
The Gospel of Medjugorje praised Father Vlasic for his work on February 8th, 1982.
Wow.
Father Vlasic, who was defrocked, basically run out of the country by Cardinal Ratzinger, who later became the Pope.
Yeah.
Okay, and now runs a site for UFO conspiracy occult stuff. She praised him for his work.
Mm.
Now listen to this. The Lady of Medjugorje says that souls receive a new body, that your old body rots in the earth, never to rise again, on July 24th, 1982, and that a new body is created.
Oh.
Apparently, the Virgin of Medjugorje, Mary, has also become a Protestant. On September 4th, 1982, Jesus prefers that you address yourselves directly to him rather than through an intermediary. In the
Wow.
meantime, if you wish to give yourselves completely to God, and if you wish for me that I be your protector, then confide in me all your intentions, your fasts, and your sacrifices, so that I may dispose of them according to the will of God. So Mary, according to these visionaries, is telling the visionaries, don't come to me, go directly to Jesus. So apparently
Yeah.
Mary has become a Protestant.
My gosh.
I could go on and on all day, Susan.
Yeah.
Unlike John Carpenter and Donald Hartley, I don't give you secondhand quotes. These
Mm-hmm.
messages are all from the actual Medjugorje transcripts. Look at this. I provide a link.
Yeah.
All right. Let me move this here. Folks, here's the address. Medjugorje.org/messagesall.htm. This is a pro Medjugorje site cataloging all of the messages. All of them. Do a search for yourself.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
My word for any of this. Okay?
Mhm.
Do not take my word for any of this. Search it yourself. Look up the messages yourself. Do you think
Yeah.
John Carpenter will tell you to do that? Do you think he'll tell you to look it up yourself? Or will he tell you to take his word for it?
Yeah.
Okay? Should I keep going? Mariana, the visionary, has been associated with the formation of Caritas in Birmingham, a group that was condemned as a heretical cult. Guess what? She's still associated with it. The church has condemned it as a cult, and she's still associated with it.
Oh my gosh.
Okay? There are undeniable ties in the Medjugorje movement to the Protestant charismatic movement with monetist undertones. Okay? Undeniable. Gnosticism, secrets that would not be revealed even to the Vatican or the Commission. Now, there were secrets at Fatima. There was the third secret at Fatima, but it was revealed to the Pope. And the
Yes.
Pope kept it secret until 1960. Okay? They actually told the investigating committee, we can't tell you what the secrets are until after they come true.
Of course.
Yeah. Okay.
Goodness. Yeah.
This. This is on page 200 of Foley's book. Vichka, the visionary, the one that jumped, she says that all of the inhabitants of hell have horns and tails. Even the damn souls, not just the devils.
Hmm.
Where do they get this stuff? Okay. I mean, it's crazy stuff. The gospel, according to Medjugorje, says that all the skeptics of Medjugorje, now, you know the rule on approved private revelations. I don't have to believe in Lourdes or Fatima. I do.
Yeah. Yes.
You're not required to believe in a private revelation,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
but you are required to be against a condemned private revelation.
Yes. Uh-huh. Yeah.
Okay. The gospel of Medjugorje, the so-called Lady of Medjugorje, says that all of those who are skeptical of the messages of Medjugorje, this would include the Pope, this would include the Congregation of the Doctrine of the Faith, this would include Father Mitch Pacwa. These are all Medjugorje skeptics. That they're all, listen to this, disbelieving Judases.
Wow.
Okay? One of the Medjugorje supporters, one of the Medjugorje priests actually changed that to doubting Thomases because he thought disbelieving Judases was too strong. But these were supposedly the words of the gospel.
Wow.
Okay. Medjugorje apologist Father Laurentin changed it to doubting Thomases to soften it. Okay. Now
Yeah.
this one you're going to love. Vichka said in this vision right here, I just put the link so people can look at it themselves, said there's only 3 colors in heaven. Okay. Now, what is the problem with that statement?
That she said what again?
There's only 3 colors in heaven.
Colors in heaven.
3. Yellow, gray, and pink are the only 3 colors in heaven.
Oh my.
Okay. Now, in the book of Revelation, It says the walls of the heavenly city of Jerusalem, there's 12 stones. There's 12 colors right there. Just the stones give you 12
Okay.
colors. Okay.
Yeah.
These passages are lunacy,
Yep.
and they're not in keeping with any approved apparition or anything remotely credible. I'm
No.
going to ask you one more time. What would a reasonable person conclude? Would a reasonable person, based on the evidence, believe that this is an authentic apparition of the Virgin Mary?
No. Not by a long shot.
Right. The
Yeah.
Ruini report is wildly flawed and cannot be taken seriously. I've linked the report and stated that the Congregation of the Doctrine of Faith was incredulous about it. It's a mass of contradictions that simply isn't workable. Commission absolutely did very sloppy work.
Yeah.
These are some of the priceless duplicities in the report. This is
Yeah.
incredible. Ivan has no credibility. This is what the Ruini report says, no credibility. But we need to believe his testimony about the first 7 days. Right? That's one contradiction. Contradiction. The first 7 visions are credible, but the only prediction made during that time turned out to be wrong. Second contradiction.
Wow.
Right? Third contradiction. The visionaries are spiritually immature and need direction. Even though the Mother of God has been appearing to them for 40 years, but they're spiritually immature.
Yeah. Wow.
Could you possibly be spiritually immature if the Mother of God was appearing to you for 30 years?
Yeah. No.
Impossible, right?
Yes.
Okay. The Ruini report says the visions after day 10 are a real problem and the visionaries are clearly going through the motions, but we must believe they are sincere about the first 10 days.
What?
It's no,
Going through emotions?
it's no wonder that the CDF was incredulous and asked for the entire report to be thrown out.
Yeah.
The so-called visionaries are widely described, even in the Ruini report, as being dishonest, evasive actors addicted to money.
Yeah.
Right? One of Vitka's favorite games was every time that you remember I told you there's no scientific studies, there's no confirmed scientific studies.
Yeah.
They documented every time the team came in to do the medical experiments, to hook them up to the machines, to do the medical experiments, Vitska would say, oh, well, you know what? Guess what? The gospel called a timeout on her visions to me. She paused the visions to me. Okay? And guess what the visions would resume after the medical team left? Oh, okay, now the Virgin Mary's appearing to me again. How convenient, right?
She's at our beck and call.
Okay.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
They're all rich, they're living in mansions, and they're driving luxury cars.
Yeah.
And Virgin Mary appears to them at their beck and call. Now, I'm going to ask you, does this compare favorably to St. Bernadette of Lourdes?
No.
To St. Juan Diego of Guadalupe? To St. Lucia Jacinta and Francisco of Fatima?
No.
Folks, let's face it. The Vatican has had 31 years to overturn the Yugoslav bishops. The Yugoslav bishops' condemnation of these apparitions was 31 years ago. Okay? 12 years ago, the Ruini Commission was opened. 5 years ago, it closed. There's literally nothing that suggests the Ruini Commission results or any manner of full or partial apparition approval of Medjugorje will ever happen.
Yeah.
Medjugorje is done. Stick a fork in it. There is no Medjugorje. Medjugorje is false. Now, so is Garabandal. We're going to go into Garabandal real quickly.
Okay.
In Garabandal, you have the same crazy messages, the same unfulfilled predictions from EWTN. Again, we talked about EWTN, right?
Yep.
In answer to questions about the alleged Marian apparitions at Garabandal, Spain, Bishop Jose Villapano sends the following response. Okay, and you can read this, you can read the article. Given that the declaration of my predecessors who studied the case has been clear and unanimous, I do not find it necessary to have a new public declaration that would give notoriety to something which happened so long ago. However, I do find it opportune to redact this information as a direct response to the persons who act for direction concerning this question, which I fully accepting the decisions of my predecessors and the direction of the Holy See. In reference to the celebration of the Eucharist in Garabandal following the disposition of my predecessors, I only allow that it be celebrated in the parish church without reference to the alleged apparitions and permission of the current pastor, who has my confidence. 5 straight bishops have condemned Garabandal. It's followed up with a condemnation from the Vatican. And yet, John Carpenter is still promoting Garabandal.
Yeah.
It is time to reject the heresy of these false apparitions and the false Pied Pipers who peddled them. Garabandal also produced signs and miracles that never have and never will, predicted signs and miracles that never have and never will take place. Nonsense such as the warning and the illumination of conscience are not Catholic. Jesus warned us to be ready and to be not caught sleeping, not to listen to false teachers with the heretical theology and pseudo-apocalyptic nonsense.
Yeah, wow.
Now,
Oh my gosh.
I ask you, did I make my case?
Yes. You've done your homework.
So
And do
now,
you even, yeah,
now I'm going to tack this onto the article that you've sent on so that all 3 videos are in the same article.
okay,
I'll resend it to you so you can resend it to them.
okay.
Put up or shut up. Here's the
Yeah.
evidence. Here's my arguments.
Yeah.
Put up or shut up, and see if they can convince you that I'm wrong. You know what my guess is? I could be wrong, but my guess is that they're not even going to try.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's exactly why he never debated you either.
And you know
Yeah.
what? I love Donald Hartley as a brother.
Oh, yeah.
I love him as a brother. Based on the evidence that I just showed you, is there any way with a straight face that I can say that I believe this stuff? That I
No.
believe in Medjugorje? I can't.
No. Yeah.
Susan, I thank you for coming on. I'm going to
Oh,
post
sure.
this video and I'm going to attach it to the article and then I'll resend
Okay.
it to you.
Okay, wonderful.
Thank you
Good
so
seeing
much for watching, and
Luis.
hopefully it'll open
Yep.
somebody's eyes. I really hope.
Yes. Yep, keep praying. Keep
Yep.
praying.
God
All
bless.
right, Gina. Okay, God bless you.
Have a
Take care.
wonderful night.
Okay, thank you.
The St. Peter's game should be coming on shortly.
Oh, that's right.
So you think they're going to
Yay.
get to the Final Four? So
Wow.
Villanova and Duke are already in the Final Four.
Okay.
So now Kansas is playing Miami, and North Carolina is playing St. Peter's for the final 2 spots.
Okay. Wow.
I'm going to predict that it's going to be Kansas and North Carolina. But
Okay.
we'll see.
Yes. They ought to
God
be good
bless.
games.
Have a wonderful evening.
Okay. Okay, you too. Thanks.